Hey guys, thank you so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast. I'm Daniel. Here at Game Your Future, we help gamers realize their full potential. And today we have a special guest. We have Paul Bomar, who is a jazz guitarist and fellow gamer. Gosh, thank you so much, Paul, and welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. What I'm very interested to talk to you about today is just this melding of being a gamer and music, right? Because I know we love video game music too. I think personally, I think it's kind of I'll say it, not like a bad rap, but like not maybe not as well understood or valued, I think, as some. That's just kind of my opinion. But I wanted to start with you and your background as far as how did you get into gaming and how did you get into being a jazz guitarist?
Well, of course, most of us begin our gaming as children, and I'm no exception. I think for me, it was the Atari 5200 that my dad brought home when I was just a little bitty guy.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I cut my teeth on. And then eventually, a few years later, graduated to the Nintendo, the first Nintendo entertainment system. And in in high school, I didn't game too much. I don't know why. I think it's because I discovered guitar,
Aha.
and so I was playing music as much as I possibly could, and that has really never stopped. Uh, but when I went away to college, I had my own space, and so I bought a Super Nintendo, and and you know, kind of during leisure time, I would usually just spend it gaming because it made me happy and I enjoyed it. But it was something nice to do when I'm not playing gigs or when I wasn't in class, etc. And it still is. I've just always loved playing video games, and my love for that has kind of been lockstep with my love of music. So do they influence each other? I don't know, but I have learned. I mean, there are so many amazing melodies in gaming music that has to have influenced me in some way. Um, so yeah, that's I guess that's my answer to that question.
Perfect. Yeah, because I think that's one of the things I've noticed too is that, yeah, and maybe some people have seen like some of these videos where they're in a public setting where they'll start playing video game music, like whether it is on their guitar or piano or whatever, and people say like, "Wow, that's really interesting music." Like, where did that come from? It's like, oh, it's from a video game, and people don't realize that like there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of heart and soul that goes into making music, regardless of what medium it's used in, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me also about I guess, getting into jazz specifically. Was that, uh, yeah, I guess your love for jazz, does that come from, or I guess where does that come from? And is it influenced by gaming?
Okay, so here's another long drawn out answer. I
Sure.
was 13 and I picked up a guitar and I loved playing. And I started off playing, long hair rock and roll type stuff. And and I dug it, but I was always looking for something a little bit more, a little bit less, maybe less structured, maybe with more texture to it. And my stepfather at the time, stay with me,
Hmm.
uh, had a Miles Davis cassette tape. This is a long time ago. And I listened to it once and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, that's cool. But then, like, at that night in bed, I was like, I need to listen to that again. And I went back and listened and I started hearing the instrumentalists communicate with each other with their instruments and heard the interplay, the improvisation, the interesting scales and things being used. And I was like, oh, that's where it's at. That's the music I want to make one day. I was like 16. There was no possible way I could even remotely attempt it yet back then. And so a little bit every day I tried to learn a little bit more about jazz and to incorporate it into what I was doing until many years later, in my 30s, I was like, all right, I'm just going to play jazz. That's what I want to do anyway. And I was terrible. Uh, and
Love it.
it's just yeah, I've just worked on it, and I think I'm at an okay place now. I'm none of us are ever happy, but that was kind of my journey with jazz. Now, as far as gaming has always been my break from the pressure of trying to be the best musician I can and the pressure of providing for my kids and all this stuff. Gaming has been a way to get away from all of it. But like I said, I love gaming, so there's no way it hasn't influenced me musically because music is such a huge part of games. Unfortunately, often neglected, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But there's so much strong music in gaming. I mean, like the Persona games, the
Oh, yeah.
soundtracks are just mind-blowingly good. I could just
Yes.
listen to that stuff and be perfectly happy all day,
I completely agree. Yeah, those that haven't played or haven't heard the Persona music, oh my gosh, it's
Oh,
so
it's
good.
just unbelievable. And I'll like jump up and down and try to tell people about this gaming music. They're like, okay, Bomar, video games, whatever. I'm like, I'm telling you, man, it's so good.
Oh yeah, yeah. Having been there, having heard it, it's like, oh yes, so good. So,
Yeah,
and I know those listening, I guess mostly gamers, and so we understand, we get
yeah,
it,
yeah.
and but specifically those that haven't played Persona, please go check it. At least the
Oh,
music,
the
so
music
good.
is so good, especially I think they really locked it in with Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. Like the music there is just like that Fender Rhodes sound on the keys, and like you listen to that bass player and the drummer, they're like so locked in. God, that music is amazing.
Yeah, Persona 5 music, guys. If you haven't heard it, and for those that know, they know.
Oh yeah.
That's great. So you mentioned something really interesting too, because a lot of us do that as far as using gaming kind of as the escape, right? The getaway. That says like, it's there's so much pressure. I just want to decompress. I just want to have some fun over here and doing, just kind of having. Yeah, and that's really what it is. It's just kind of decompressing and having fun. What's interesting to me is what games are fun, right? Because we say gamer, and a lot of people play a lot of different games. And there's certain genres or certain games that people like more than others. So one question I do like to ask a lot of times is, you know, games are fun. Okay, yes. Why are games fun? So Paul, why are games fun for you?
No one has ever asked me that before. It's there's so much about it that I find fascinating. There's so much world building with video games. I would say more so than cinema or television because you've got to actually interact with this non-existent world. And for me, even going through a game, whether it's fast paced or just a turn-based RPG or something like that, getting immersed in that world, it makes me so happy to like exist within whatever the universe the game is about. And of course, to kill dragons with swords or whatever it is, like that's just super fun too. Like you get to be a version of yourself existing in a non-existent world, and I think that might be the most enticing part of gaming for me.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, and I love that answer because just being immersed in a whole other world, it sounds like to me, and because I've had similar answers from other guests, that I guess it's kind of the sense of like wonder and the sense of discovery to be like,
Yeah,
this is a whole new place you can be and experience, right? As a result, I'll say I feel the same way. I love like JRPGs, for example. We mentioned Persona, of course, the Final Fantasy series. And to me, these kind of RPGs and these other worlds are fascinating, not only for being able to immerse yourself in that, this kind of new world, but just the ability to kind of push boundaries and actually do cool things. Like how often in our daily lives can we go, cast magic at a dragon? Like it's
right.
so very cool. So I'll say like I've played plenty, but like I don't play a lot of sports games, for example, or some of the racing games, especially the more realistic ones. Like I enjoy me some Mario Kart, but like the more realistic, like Need for Speed, Forza, whatever, I'm like, I can, it'd be really expensive, but I can go race a car or I can go play, sports with friends or whatever. Like, so those to me weren't as exciting as, like you said, getting lost in this kind of new world
Right.
sense of discovery and being able to cast magic, right?
Right. All the things we can't actually do is what makes gaming fun. I am kind of a car guy, so I love me some racing games, but that's also very much an immersive thing for me too, because like
Mm,
there's just no way I could go race a Bugatti on the Nürburgring. Like that is not an attainable thing for me. So I like my racing games,
yeah.
but yeah, it's the RPGs that are my bread and butter as far as gaming, definitely.
Gotcha. No, that's fantastic. So one of the things that you also mentioned that I would definitely wanted to highlight for those that are looking to to start something new to build a skill, because you said when you first started with like the jazz, doing the guitarist, you were terrible at it, right?
Like I was good at what I had been doing before,
Hmm.
like I did a lot of funk and R&B and in those areas. Like I worked with like hip hop artists and stuff like that. And but like jazz is what I always wanted to do. And I was like, well, okay, well, I mean, I can already play. I'll be fine. No,
Nope.
I was really bad for a long time,
Gotcha.
but I got better.
Yeah, and that's great. And that's fantastic that you were able to overcome and get better. The problem is, I think a lot of people, especially in the world today, they look at like these kind of challenges or these kind of, skill gaps, and they say, well, that's too far. I don't know how to bridge that gap. And they give up, right? And a lot of us, we try something for the first time. Oh, I'm not good at this. I'm out.
Hmm.
So what kind of advice would you have for somebody that's looking to get into, especially if it's getting into music and they're like, I sound terrible. There's no way I can do this. Like, what kind of advice would you have somebody just starting out that knows that they are terrible?
So yeah, I've had a lot of music students, and the one thing I always tell them, because they're always frustrated at how how bad they sound when they get started. And it's not that they sound bad. I keep telling them, you've never done this before. This is hard. This is not the thing that you are undertaking is not easy, and it's going to take time for you to sound good. If you give it the time, you're going to sound fine, but it's going to take the time. There's no avoiding putting the hours in, and
Yeah.
it's an unfortunate truth with most skills, especially with music and especially with guitar. Guitar is actually very physically difficult to start doing because you're holding down metal cables against a big piece of wood, and your body's not designed to do that. Um, Guitarists who have been doing it for years, I think I've been playing for 36 years, we make it look easy because it's all we've done for decades. And you've got to put the time in, and you will be rewarded if you do. That's what I would say. Uh, Also, anyone, especially these days, anyone with the desire to put something beautiful into the world, making music, painting pictures, designing a cool game, whatever it is, they should be celebrated.
Yeah, I completely agree. And at least for the gaming side of it, I know it feels like, as of recording this, where it feels like we're kind of in this indie game renaissance, right? Where
Yeah.
AAA games have been kind of lackluster over the last several years and too big of budgets, and they have to come out early and buggy and whatever. And then there's been plenty of indie games that have been on the rise recently, which amazing. And kudos to those, small team or even solo developers to get some of those things out. So I think the message here is like, yes, it could take time, but it's worth it, right?
Yeah. It's not easy, but the old cliche is nothing good ever is.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because and just I guess to help further the point, right? Because there's one thing where we say like we got to put the hours in, and then how do you, I guess, stay motivated, right? Because I think we are in this kind of world of, instant gratification, right? We get our results immediate. Even as gamers, like when we play in the game, you do something in the game, you get the feedback immediately. Like, did your
Mm-hmm.
attack hit? Did it miss? Did you get hit? Like everything happens immediately. But when we get out into the world, it's like what you do doesn't necessarily affect the world or affect your skill level immediately. So how do you stay motivated?
With me, it was always musically, it's always been about getting that sound. However it is I've defined that sound I'm trying to go for. And if I haven't gotten it yet, well, it's unacceptable for me to tolerate anything less.
Mm.
Uh, I think a lot of musicians, especially in jazz, are like that. Uh, we know what we want to come out the other end when when we generate the input. Um, and if it's not exactly what we're after, there is no stopping. Uh, it takes that kind of mindset,
Mm.
um, whether it be, I would say whether it be music, visual arts, whatever it is. You've got to be a bit obsessive with the output has to match your vision, and I think
Mm.
that's how a lot of us are that haven't stopped.
Okay. So it sounds like you're talking like having that end goal, that end result that you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
right? And really striving
Yeah.
for that. So I think some people have this kind of inclination of whether it's music that they're learning, and I've heard this like through like learning a language, where it's just like I just need to practice. I just need to put in the hours, like you're saying, but that's all they do, or that's how they structure it. Be like, well, I'm gonna go play for an hour. Like, okay, that doesn't sound engaging or exciting. But if you're
So
striving toward a goal,
right.
so I think what we're talking about is this kind of goal setting to say like, I want to hit this level, an X level. And if you're not there yet, that's going to help motivate you to continue playing, to continue practicing, right?
There's other things too, and here's one thing I started advising players once they're getting to where they can play tunes and know where to stop, know where to start, all that stuff. Start booking gigs, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, I'm like, trust me, book a gig for a couple months from now. You will be shocked at how well you play once you roll up. So yes, set goals, but put yourself in situations where you have to perform,
Mm.
and you will. You will surprise yourself every time. It's how I did it. Remember, I told you I was terrible, right? But I was being terrible in front of people, like and like being terrible at venues that were paying me to be there. Like I booked a bunch of gigs and because I wanted to do this, right? And the audience probably dug it, and the venue owner was probably happy for me to be there. It wasn't like a bad scene or anything like that, but I knew how bad I sounded.
Mm.
Um, and boy, is that a motivator. And also, like the cats you're on the bandstand with, they're better than you, and so you've got to not let them down. So there is, yes, there's goal setting, but maybe put put a healthy amount of pressure on yourself to get to where you want to be, not an unhealthy amount of pressure,
Yeah.
because we know what that looks like.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to get to the point of anxiety, right? But like
Exactly.
I definitely agree that you want to get, because that's frankly that's what the growth is, right? Like when you're just a little bit uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just comfortable all the time, you just kind of get set in the ways, and then there's not really opportunity for growth, or it'll be very slow. Be this very linear kind of slow graph that like you'll get better, but it'll take
Mm-hmm.
you a long, long time. But you're right. If you put a little bit of pressure on it, just it, the saying I've heard in kind of the personal growth space is like be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
There you go. Yeah, yeah.
It's like it's kind of weird to say, and I really had to kind of digest that for a while and be like, what even does that mean? But it really is about what you're saying. It's about putting that little bit of pressure on it, that little bit of like social accountability to be like, well, I'm going to book a gig, I'm going to be in front of people, so
I
I
better
better damn
learn
well
some
practice,
tunes.
right? Exactly
Uh,
right.
and even now, like it has worked for me. I've got a gig Sunday. I play every week at this little brunch, right? Nobody listens. It's just a brunch gig, but it's my trio, right? And it's got my name on it. So I want it to be right. And I'm constantly like, okay, well, Sunday I've got the trio thing. I want to incorporate diminished chord voicings on this one too, blah 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 blah. And I'm still trying to like add new things and make it a little bit better and tweak it. And if you love something like that, it's not work. It's like, oh man, this is going to sound so good if I could add this and blah, 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 blah. It's you, you've got to look at it as something you cherish, even though it's effort and work, and you do you're out there hanging out there and you know hoping it hoping you don't get hurt, but you might, and if you do, that's life. Keep going. You know,
I
I
love
don't
that.
know if that was coherent, but
No, I think yeah, just the the ability to keep going, right? The ability to persevere under pressure, which I think the good news is, I think for the gamers listening, right? As gamers, we know how to persevere, right? How many times have you beat a game on the first try or not taken
yeah,
damage, not not lost your character, not, party wipe, anything like that, the very first try?
right, right.
Yeah, name one person that's done that. Like, no. So
I
gamers are
remember,
familiar with
yeah,
failure.
oh yeah.
And I think it really is, and like that's what part of what I love to share on this show is, like, taking that ability, that resilience that you've been building up playing games, especially like something like Final Fantasy or
Mhm.
Persona, love those, and it's and being able to say, like, hey, you failed, game over, just reload, reset, try again.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VI, that tower level, you have to go up the tower and you can't use any physical attacks. That took some perseverance until I realized you have to cast this one thing and it makes the whole thing easy. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
every gamer has that thing that like they stumble over and they have to grind past it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but then you get to move on to the good stuff, and that's life.
yeah, exactly right. Well, guys, this has been so amazing, Paul. Is there anything else, that any other advice that you would have for gamers that are kind of budding musicians, like where to start or anything we've missed?
My, what I have to say to budding musicians, honestly, is we need you. Plain and simple. Look at the world. Like, if you're a gamer, cool, keep gaming. Gaming is beautiful. There's no question that it inspires creativity in artists, and anyone who says otherwise can come talk to me. But musicians, we need people putting beautiful things in the world. We need it, and it feels like there's less and less. So
Hmm.
keep going, not only for yourselves but for all of us too. We need your art.
I love that. Thank you, Paul, for that. And gosh, Paul, this has been such a great talk, hanging out with you. And where can people learn more about you and the music that you do?
I'm on all the social things. I just use my name, Paul Bomar. So it's Bomar. Just type it in and you'll find me. The bald guy with the questionable facial hair and the guitar. Yeah, I'm like the first guy that comes up. So yeah,
So
I'm on
funny.
all the things. I have an album called The Gift that was put out a few years ago. It's a piano guitar duet album. The pianist and myself were both affected by cancer, and so the proceeds from that album all go to the American Cancer Society. So if you want to give that a stream, that would be cool. It's pretty good listen. Um, I perform around the Triangle area all the time, so you can catch me at a show if you live near there. And like I said, I'm working on a trio album. It should be out, I'm guessing, in a few months. Once we get everything done, and that should be a good listen as well. So some really good players.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that, Paul. And guys, we'll have the links for you guys in the description. And especially if you want to help support Paul and, helping with cancer research, definitely check out his album. And we'll have the link for that in the description as well. So, guys, Paul, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. And I do have one final question before we go. And that is, of course, what is your favorite video game?
Has to be okay, Final Fantasy VI, which was Final Fantasy III when it came out in the United States, but I think that's got to be my all-time favorite game. There's so much emotional connection with the characters. and the gameplay was just so,
So
you
good.
know, so good. And Persona 5 Royal might be a close second to that. But
Really? Oh
oh,
man.
I love the Persona games. I love them
Yeah.
so much. Uh but yeah, I can make a huge list. But yeah, all-time favorite still has to be Final Fantasy 6.
That's yeah, and that's always the hardest question that I ask on the show is because
Hmm.
narrow it down to one. It's like, oof. So
Yeah, right?
I love the six because I'll say, and for those that don't know, it's like the six is probably is a very close in my mind is probably a very close number two. The all-time favorite game that I have is Chrono Trigger.
Great game. Yeah, so good. Chrono Cross I thought was good too, and I don't think people talk about that one. But yeah, Chrono Trigger is great.
Chrono Trigger, amazing. And then I said like a very close second would be Final Fantasy VI. Three in the US because
That's a
I
great
was
list.
also that person, right? Yeah, growing up, I'm like, we went from three to seven. I was like, what happened? Like,
Like, what?
it's like, oh, the three in the US that you know is actually six. I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay,
Right. Yeah,
too good. All right, well, thank you so much for being here, Paul. This has been
sure.
fantastic. And guys, definitely check out Paul. And definitely, if you're looking to support cancer research, definitely check out his album. Proceeds go to that. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, stay awesome. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Daniel.